What's going
Hey.
on, everybody? Welcome back to the last video of the divisional round playoff breakdowns. We are talking about the Chiefs, led by Jackson Mahomes, and the Buffalo Bills, led by Josh Allen and shirtless Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's going to be a banger. This is one of the better games of the week. We've been saying that with every single one because they're all great games, but this one is going to be the high-powered offensive one that everybody wants to watch. Before we get into today's video, like the video. It's going to be a good one. Comment down below who's going to
Okay.
win this matchup and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out. You guys
Right.
get good fantasy advice. Why not hit that sub button and hear every single video we have to post every single week? We have 5 of them at least a week. Who wants to take things first, though, in this game? We're just going to jump right into things today.
Guys, this is the most anticipated game yet in the playoffs. This is basically AFC Championship vibes. It is going to be huge. We got two of the most high-powered offenses in the league going at each other. Um, I'm excited. This is Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen, two of the best upcoming quarterbacks in the league. I mean, you could all already say Patrick Mahomes is one of the best. Josh Allen is working his way up there. Um, these two guys going at each other. The first in week 5, their first matchup, the Chiefs were not the same team. The Bills steamrolled them. They made the Chiefs look like they were done. All right. Um, what can we go off with that?
I would say the Chiefs are not done. That's what we can go off of because pretty much,
Yeah.
I think it might have been a week after the Bills game is when they lost the second to last game of the season, their second to last loss. And then they just won out pretty much the entire season until they hit the rocky road of the Cincinnati Bengals, who are another team that is a favorite to make the AFC Championship game right now, in my opinion. But the Kansas City Chiefs have been clicking on all cylinders as of recent, and it's kind of surprising because somebody like Tyreek Hill has basically been non-existent in that offense for like the last 5 to 6 weeks. And I mean, he's had like different kind of injury problems and stuff like that, but to be able to have this kind of success with your absolute top star like not producing to like his expected levels, like it speaks a lot about the team, and a lot of it goes
Dude,
credited to the defense.
what are they going to do? How are the Bills going to cover Tyreek Hill with Tre'Davious White being out? What are we going to do with that?
Well, I mean, no one's really been covering him recently, and he's just not getting any points. Like, or I'm
No,
talking
he's
fantasy
about to
right
pop
now,
off.
but in terms of, I guess you can take fantasy point relevance, be like, oh, he got under 10 points. It means he didn't do anything, obviously. But
I kind of want to slide in here real quick. The Buffalo Bills like to play a too high zone. So you have Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer sitting back
Mhm.
there, kind of ball hawking. Both of them are very hard hitting. Both of them are great ball hawk safeties. And so I think that's going to kind of limit over the top ability of Tyreek Hill. Um, And I do kind of just want to bring up Jerick McKinnon. He's kind of had a career resurgence the past couple weeks with this team. Obviously, the last week of the season and coming into the first game of the playoffs, he kind of stepped up. I mean, I don't think many people expected him to be as a big as part of the game plan as he was. But I do have a stat sitting right here in front of me. Patrick Mahomes ranks number one in play action touchdowns, with Josh Allen second. Both of them are top 10 in QBR on play action attempts. But here's the caveat: defensively, Buffalo has allowed the lowest opponent QBR while in play action. Kansas City, on the other hand, has the highest opponent QBR
Oh,
for play action. So I think if they try to get the run game going, they try to establish it, that's going to be a little bit of the ability to maybe open up the defense a little bit. But I think that it's only going to work one way. I think that's what's going to work for the Bills. I think Josh Allen's going to be able to get the play action working. We've seen Devin Singletary step up and look like a very solid starting running back the past couple weeks. And with that defense, like I said, they allowed the lowest QBR for play action, and that's something that Patrick Mahomes, obviously, like I said, he leads with like I think 10 touchdowns or something like that. Um, but he's not going to be able to do it. He's not going to have the open ability to get Tyreek Hill downfield or some of the other guys like Byron Pringle. The first matchup that these two had, he was limited to one pass play of more than 20 yards. On the other hand, again, as the stats kind of just dictated, Josh Allen had four, and two of them went for touchdowns. I think if they can open up the middle of the field with Travis Kelsey, he's going to have to be a big part of this game plan
yeah.
in order for the Chiefs to kind of be able to stick with the Buffalo Bills. And a funny little fact. Josh Allen once said that it's impossible to score on every single possession, and then he turned around and he just did it in the playoffs last week.
Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are making records. If they win this weekend against the Chiefs, then they will be the first team ever to beat Bill Belichick and Andy Reid in the postseason, in a single postseason ever, which would be pretty cool.
I'll say that alone is remarkable. But I did want to go back to a point that Paul kind of briefly touched on that I was going to bring up, and I'm glad he did, was Devin Singletary. The kind of resurgence that he's had, and when they most needed it, it's almost like playoff Lenny of last year. Like, Devin Singletary for the last couple of years has been absolutely nothing in this Buffalo Bills offense. And now we get to the end of the year, and something just clicks in his head, and he is just going out and running and looking great on every touch. Every time he gets the ball, he looks like a great running back now. And this is what we expected out of him a few years ago. So it's really good to see him doing this. And with Devin Singletary doing this well, you know how much that opens up Josh Allen's play action even more. Like, you're saying that Josh Allen had these play action stats. This was without a running game even. He was just doing this with no running game play actions. Like, they expect him to be passing it, and he's still going out and, like, having the second best in the NFL in QBR.
I do want to cut you off real quick because, like you just said, where it is more Josh Allen than it is just regular Devin Singletary, Matt Breida, Zach Moss, who they brought in. Buffalo as a team, they have run for 110 yards plus and 4 yards per carry plus in 6 straight games. That's the second longest streak in the NFL this year, only behind the Eagles, who just had an astronomical run game. But also at the same time, they haven't given up a single sack in 5 straight games. That's actually absolutely huge for this team. For a defense that has Chris Jones and Ty Matthew out of the safety slot, who he's great at blitzing off the edge. They have a good front seven. They got decent linebackers, which Anthony Hitchens is actually questionable for the game. I think a lot of it's going to come down to if they can get to Josh Allen. If they do, that might be able to disrupt the game plan and how great things have gone for them in the past couple weeks offensively. But I mean, as it stands right now, I think Buffalo is in the driver's seat, even though they're a 3 seed compared to Kansas City being a 2. This game is in Arrowhead. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be loud. I think it's going to be a great game, and I think obviously it's going to be the best playoff game of the year outside of the Super Bowl.
Let's go. I'm pumped. I think.
Mason, do you have any other things to say on this game? Like one last little tidbit before we head out of here?
No. One thing on the Chiefs offense. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on track to return, but like Paul was saying earlier, with Jerick McKinnon's resurgence, I don't know how much they're going to want to use him. He had 142 scrimmage yards last week and a touchdown. Let this kid rip. I don't know. It's going to be an exciting game. I'm ready to watch it. It'll be powerful. Let's go, baby. Come on.
All right. That puts us into prediction time. Paul, you were the one that just talked about it a little bit. You said that the Bills might be in the driver's seat here, so I'm going to give it over to you first because I'm kind of curious as to where you're leaning.
Well, I'm taking the Bills to upset the Kansas City Chiefs, even though I don't think it's going to be that much of an upset outside of seeding aspects. I think the Bills are going to run the ball. I think Josh Allen's going to run the ball. I think he's going to be able to pass the ball. Patrick Mahomes obviously is going to do his thing. I think he tops 300 yards. But I also see this defense kind of stifling him, not being able to get Tyreek Hill out in space, out open, deep. I think Travis Kelce is going to have a big game because of it. I'm taking the Bills 34 over the Kansas City Chiefs 24.
Dang.
10-point difference. All right, Mason, I want to hear what your take is then.
This is so tough. This is one of the harder games to predict. I'm with Paul on this one. While the Chiefs are ranked higher, we saw it earlier in the year. The Bills have their number. They were able to lock them down. Granted, they're both different teams right now. I think it's going to be closer, though. I think we're going to see the Bills, let's go 31, and then the Chiefs 27. That's my prediction.
All right. And I'm going to be the last vote here. You guys have already decided on the Bills, so the Bills technically take it over for the fantasy few. But I want to say one thing. It doesn't matter how much the stats look like they're on the side of the Bills, because I think the Bills could definitely win this game. when you have Andy Reid as a coach on the other side of the field, you always have a chance to win the game because he is one of the greatest coaches to ever go to the sport. I don't know how to say it. He's just one of the best ever. Everyone knows it. Everyone's well aware of it. Andy Reid is a god amongst boys out there, but Sean McDermott is pretty solid, so don't count him out either. But I am going Kansas City Chiefs 34, Bills 31. I think it's going to be kind of a shootout type game. I don't think either team's going to stay in the 20s. I think it's going to both go above 30s. And I'm keeping it close because really I don't know who actually is going to win the game, but I think the Chiefs are going to take it. But Paul's got to do one more tidbit before we get out of here.
Quick, like always. What you just spoke about, this I think is a personal revenge game for Sean McDermott. Even though they already beat him in the regular season, that's a regular season game. This is where he can show and prove it. Back in 2014, Andy Reid fired him as the defensive coordinator in Philadelphia. Obviously, Andy Reid was on his way out shortly thereafter. But I think Sean McDermott's going to come in. I think he has something to prove to Andy. Like you said, I think Andy Reid is the greatest offensive-minded head coach this league has ever seen. Obviously, I can't call him the greatest coach of all time. That's Bill Belichick. He's more defensive, but he also has 6 Super Bowls. But mark this right now. Kansas City will not run out of fireworks this week.
Hey.
all right.
I like it. Good way to end.
All right. If you guys enjoyed today's video, like the video, comment down below who you think is actually going to win. Or is Kansas City going to run out of fireworks this week? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you guys enjoyed today's content. You're still here, so you might as well hit that button so you can hear more playoff breakdowns that we're going to have throughout next week for the championship round. So that's all I got to say today. I'm going to give things over to Mason. He's going to break us out of here like he always does.
Fantasy Few out, baby. Let's go.